South Sudanese soldiers surrounded Vice President Riek Machar's home in Juba on Wednesday, and several of his allies were arrested after an armed group allied to him overran an army base in the country's north. Machar, whose political rivalry with President Salva Kiir has in the past exploded into civil war, said last month that the firing of several of his allies from posts in the government threatened the 2018 peace deal between him and Kiir. For more perspective on this situation, let's go to Jok Madut Jok, a South Sudanese political analyst at Syracuse University in New York. Mr. Jok, you are closely following news back home. What can you tell us about first Vice President Riek Machar's situation?
Thank you for having me, ma'am. Yes, we gather that the situation in Juba is quite tense since the round of arrests of some of the prominent allies of the vice president, including the Minister of Petroleum, and that his own wife, the Minister of Interior, Angelina Tany, is also in the house with him, and their house is surrounded, a kind of a house arrest. This is happening in the wake of violent events that have taken place in the state of Upper Nile, in the counties of Nasser and Ulang, where some ragtag army expected to be part of Riek Machar's army ransacked those towns and surrounded and ran off the national army, the South Sudan People's Defense Forces. And that situation has created a lot of speculation that perhaps the peace agreement is not going to withstand these kinds of actions, especially that they are reminiscent of some of the things that happened in 2013 before the outbreak of the civil war, and then happened again in 2016. So in light of that history, people fear that these events, these developments in Juba are likely to, at the very least, end the 2018 peace agreement, which created the national unity government involving Riek and Kiir. But at worst, there might be signs of a return to war.
So, Professor, with the current tense situation as you describe it in South Sudan, is there any possibility that President Salva Kiir would be able to speak directly to Riek Machar so they can figure out how to get this situation under control?
Riek Machar has actually written a letter to President Kiir asking for a meeting of the presidency, which includes the two of them plus 4 other vice presidents, hoping that this thing can be worked out, whatever it is that caused it. Riek Machar seems to suggest that this can be resolved at the table rather than allowing the situation to flare up into a possibility of a return to a civil war. Everybody's hoping that President Kiir will indeed respond to Riek's request for a meeting.
I was going to ask you what this has cost the country so far, if you could say that in 15 seconds.
Other than the tension and fears, it is definitely costing the country a lot of possibilities to implement the peace agreement and to rescue the people. And there is so much that is facing the country, from the economy being tanked to insecurity rampant all around the country. This situation doesn't help at all. It adds to those issues that are confronting the country.